terrible.
I can't mute her like that.
I'm sorry. Alrighty. We welcome back to our studio #1 best-selling author, 2 times TEDx speaker, the founder of HappinessScientist.com, happiness scientist herself, Yeo Sha-En, or Sha-En Yeo, however fancy you want to get with it. Welcome back to the studio, girl.
Thank you. It's been
yes,
so long. It's been a while, huh?
Yeah.
Always happy to be back.
What are you up to? What have you been up to? School holidays as
School
well?
holidays. Just got back from Phuket, traveling, sun and sea.
Hey, how's it over in Phuket? Nice, not? Everything's
Yeah,
okay?
of course, yeah. I mean, it's been 10 years or more since I've been to Phuket. So
That's
it
a
was
lot
nice
changed.
to re-explore. I think some things are still the same, you
Okay.
know. Like I went to PP Island and it looks exactly the same from like 20 years ago.
But that's wonderful, right?
yeah,
you know,
it's a little
nature's
bit
being
untouched.
preserved and untouched. You're right.
I mean, lots of tourists, of course, but not as many Singaporeans as I thought. I think they're all in Korea and Japan.
Yeah. Why?
Well,
They were trailing
what
me,
she
is it?
was.
They were following me, is it? Hey. But you were here to talk about something that is very, very relevant to right now.
Yeah, it's called Festive Burnout, and we've kind of touched on it a little bit over the last few weeks, and the festive period coming up. Then you've got Chinese New Year. It's kind of one after the other.
That's true.
Hey,
It's all
throw-
squashed together, right? In the
Throw
next
in New
couple
Year's
of
as
months.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Never ending.
Perhaps you can sort of set it up before we dive right into it. What exactly is like festive burnout?
I mean, as the name implies, it's feeling fatigue and, you know, not wanting to interact with people as you normally do as a result of being in festive situations. And I guess, you know, Christmas, New Year, Chinese New Year that's coming, it just sets you up for that, you know, like lots of big crowds. And even if you want to go shopping, you can't do it in silence. Right, because everyone is there,
that's true.
like you, and then
Hectic,
everywhere you go, you hear the Christmas song jingling, so you
That's
can't have
true.
silence, and so it's like an overstimulation of your senses, and that's probably one of the things that leads to the feeling of burnout.
Okay. So too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Huh? So why are some folks kind of more susceptible to this whole festive burnout thing?
Yeah, I mean, some people are highly sensitive, right? As you have, I don't know if you've heard of the term called HSP, highly sensitive person,
Right.
which means that sometimes emotionally they are more sensitive, but it also could mean sensorially they are more sensitive, meaning that when there are loud sounds or continuous intense music or bright lights or just a lot of people, I'm sure you've heard of this feeling like, you know, you've been to a large crowd, and when you go back you just need to like decompress.
That's
That's
true.
a sign of
That's
being
true.
overstimulated. So some people are more prone and more to that, and of course we have the introverts who prefer to be stimulated from within as opposed to from the external environment, and so they can also possibly get, you know, this burnout.
You know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to go home today and to my 3 boys because they are a noisy bunch. They're a fun bunch, but they're noisy. I'm going to put in some, before I put in my earplugs, I'm going to go like, I am an HSP. I need the silence. Okay, bye guys. Okay.
Get them to be your little elves and make them do something.
They are actually
so
very
you get them to
cute.
deliver all the early Christmas presents, then they'll be out of your hair and doing something
They
productive.
used to do that,
like
but now I can't get them into the elf costumes. They look so cute.
Now they got to DIY, make their own.
No, they don't want to do like, oh, mommy, come on, that's not cool.
Not
I'm
cool.
like,
They can be the
"Aw."
cool elves lah.
How to make? I shall go and Pinterest that and
Yes,
see what
you
is the
need to-
look
you need
of
to
a
think-
cool elf. But I might be able to get them on my side. Yes.
I'm curious to know, Sha-En, what, you know, when people also talk about the stress of the festive period, also like whether they can live up to maybe the choosing the presents, or if you're hosting an event at
That's
home or
right.
something, whether it's going to be good enough. Is that part of festive
I think
burnout? Or
it's
is that
part of it. Like
separate?
when you're hosting, especially, there's this desire to get everything perfect and right.
Yeah.
And you know, and there will always be people who maybe make some comments which give you the impression that it hasn't been as perfect as you want. You know, like table setting, where you ordered from. And it's not like some of these things you can control. Like, you know, you may order from a really good restaurant, but that year it's just not the best as maybe another place, and but sometimes it falls on you because you're the host, you know. So it's that kind of stress for hosting, but then also going to other people's houses, right? You want to bring the right gift. You know, what if you bring a gift that's not, you know, maybe monetarily in the right category,
Yeah.
for example, right? Or you show up and not dressed as Christmassy as it's supposed to be. There's all these little
Right.
nuances that
That's a lot
sometimes
to
are
think
not
about,
said.
isn't it?
Yeah, that sometimes are not said. Obviously, it's if you're with super comfortable people who just let you do whatever you want, then there's probably not going to be that much stress. Yeah, but I guess with family that you haven't seen for a while, for example,
Yeah.
there's also the stress of them asking about your job, asking about your
Family life.
your
Yeah.
current status, whatever that may be, and
Yep.
that is stressful because then
That's true.
you don't know what kind of question is going to come.
Or what's going to come out of it, as you
Yeah.
discuss it, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I hear this, I already stress. So what are some things we should, look out for to avoid such festive burnout or, reduce the stress? Is it possible to reduce the stress?
Yeah, I mean, just like with so many things, sometimes we say yes too quickly. I think it's important for us to pause and think, do I really need to say yes to this particular festive occasion that I need to go to, for example? I mean, obviously, if it's work related and everyone's going, you might have to say yes.
Yep.
But then
Yep.
you can also mentally prepare, right? That there's going to be certain things that you'll probably be going through because
Good
it happens
point.
every year. And so it's more like the mental preparation for certain things that are going to happen. I think that can be done ahead of time. And of course, give yourself maybe a time limit or maybe a number of people you'll talk to limit. Some kind of limit so that you have an out for yourself, or
Yeah.
maybe after like 30 minutes you need to take a break and then go to the washroom, freshen up, take a walk, and then come back. So there are these things that you can do to prepare.
Oh, that's a very, very good tip.
Yeah.
Give yourself those little breaks. We're going to find out more about festive burnout, especially the family situation.
Yes.
Can't run from
those
it.
are the tricky ones.
Yeah.
It is. We're going to head on to our facebook.com/1FM913. Come and join in. And hey, remember, chime on in because you might just win for yourself an amazing prize. We'll share that about all the details on that as we head to Facebook Live.
1FM
91.3.
Good times, greatest hits.
Welcome me back into our studio. Sha-En, our happiness scientist, here to talk to us about festive burnout. Shazad, let me just ask you real quick. Do you go through that every Christmas, New Year's?
I don't get as excited about.
Oh, the burnout already happened.
So, as a lot of people do, I'm not that fussed about it as much as a lot of members of my family get quite excited. But it's the going out and getting the present. I think like kind of what I was saying, which is why I don't do it anymore. My wife is very, very good at doing that, so that's great. But the one I think that a lot of people can kind of empathize with, Sha-En, is the family situation.
Yes.
When you get everyone together, and often it can be quite an extended bunch of people together,
Yes,
right? That you may not have
yes.
seen that often, and it tensions can arise.
True, true.
How do there's also topics to talk about politics
Yeah, like you
or
brought up.
Yeah,
finance and stuff like that.
that's
Sensitive
right.
topics. What do you advise? How do you deal with these difficult situations?
Family is family, right? On the one hand, they can be standard in the sense that you kind of know what to expect. Doesn't make it pleasant.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's something that you can expect means that there are some things that you can prepare for,
True.
right? And so sometimes for me, I know that there's certain people who say certain things, like year on year, right?
You know what's coming.
Yeah, I kind of know what's coming, and so for those ones, I have kind of got a prepared answer.
Okay.
Right, so if they're going to ask me
Give me
about
an example. I need to
career,
learn something from
like
this. Yeah.
I remember like years ago when I just had only one child, and so every time they'll see me, they're like, so when's the second one coming?
Oh.
Right, so my prepared answer was, it will come when you see her or him.
Which is very true.
right?
Which is
And
very, very
yeah,
true.
or
That's
I'll
a
say
bit of a snap. Okay.
Yeah,
you
lah,
know?
but some people, they deserve it. lah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's up to you how you want to prepare, what kind of phrases. But I think certain things we can prepare because people sometimes just want to say it for the sake of.
Yeah, true.
Or they want to say it just to chochok you, right? Yeah, I mean, if it's a genuine question and you really don't know what to say, you can just say, well, I don't really know how to respond to
Do
you,
you-
but I'm curious. May I know what you want to really
Do you
ask
deliver
me?
that with a smile when you say that, or
Yeah.
do you kind of give it a straight face? How do you? Does it depend on who asks the question?
It depends on who asks the question.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought so. Right.
Yeah, but
Okay,
asking
okay.
a question back, if you're taken by surprise, can also be a good strategy. For
Yes.
example, I'm curious why you asked me that. Because
throw
you
the
just want to
question
know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't really know where it's coming from. You don't want to blow your top. You want to make assumptions.
True.
But you can say like, well, that's interesting. Where
It could have been an innocent question.
Yeah,
Like maybe the person just really just
or
making
sometimes they say,
conversation.
hey, I heard now that your job this. Oh, that's interesting. What else have you heard? So you kind of, you don't have to feel like you're defending yourself.
I
You
like
can always
that.
throw the question
I
back.
like that.
And then it becomes some kind of a conversation as opposed to,
Yeah.
hey, they're attacking me. Because that could be an assumption that they are pouncing on you.
My first thing would be like, where'd you hear that from?
Yeah.
That's how I'd feel. Like, where's that coming from? Interesting.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do like what you're presenting here. That's a good strategy because, like you said, it gets the conversation going, and like sometimes we assume the person is trying to confront you or
but they could genuinely be
just
because
wanting
they
to
haven't
make
seen you for years.
conversation.
It's
Yeah,
been
you're
COVID
right.
times.
Okay,
It's
okay.
possible
Yeah.
that they haven't seen you for a few years.
or deflect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you tried the turkey?
Yes, exactly.
I
So
get you
other
some.
part is have some other interesting conversation topics that are not hot button topics.
Okay.
Right? So, hot button topics that won't disturb both of you, like turkey.
Hey, so now moving forward, right? You all know my strategy.
Turkey's a bit hot button for me.
Yeah, but actually it's true, right? Because it depends on where you got the turkey from, whether it was well
Oh,
cooked or
that
not.
turkey.
Oh, that
that
one.
one.
Years
Oh.
ago, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a turkey snob. You're a roast
No,
turkey
I'm just
snob.
not a big, massive turkey fan. But,
Okay.
Oh, more turkey. Great. Just what I want.
Oh, so now moving forward, right? Anytime when I go, have you tried the turkey? I'm trying to avoid
That's
answering your question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Then you know. So,
Or Christmas tree decoration. Oh well, it really depends, right? Some people could be a bit particular about that too.
so I think it's a good point that you say. It's about going into it mentally prepared.
Yes.
I think sometimes we have to embrace the fact that we can't run away from it, right? Can't run away from your family, meeting up with them.
The
Make the
problem
best
is,
out of it.
I agree, but the problem is that
Yeah.
even though you know what's going to happen, it is about how you react still.
True,
Because I know
True,
certainly
true.
when I know what's going to happen next, it's still
It might get you going and a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
because we have certain patterns of response already.
Yips.
right.
Right,
It's ingrained in us.
Yeah, it's ingrained, and
Yeah.
these are things that probably happened since you were a child until
Right.
now, right? So I think it's important to recognize it. Like you recognize, oh, I can feel like that same heat coming up through my chest
Yeah.
because this person asked a question that feels really familiar. Okay, I'm going to get a piece of cake now.
Cake always makes
take
things
a break,
better.
right?
We're
Take a
going to
breath.
head back on air and carry on with discussion. Come and join us then.
Crew with I Just Died in Your Arms. Sometimes it feels like that at Christmas
What?
time.
Whoa! Yeah,
okay.
actually quite true. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. Sometimes, like, when they stun you with that question, then you, I don't even get to say, have a piece of cake, but cake does make things
Better.
feel better,
Right.
right? Cake makes everything better. So that's also your strategy, deflect, right? I think that's a doable strategy.
I think
it's practical.
it's awareness. So to me, it's if you are aware and you're starting to feel the heat, rather than going to combat with someone
Yeah.
or turn something into a sour mode,
yeah.
the distraction tactic could be helpful. But of course, you may want to walk away and ask yourself, is this something you want to happen year on year,
True.
right? And learning to regulate your emotions is something that you can do for yourself.
Yep.
You can't
Yep.
change other people.
I was
That's
recently
true.
told something
Yeah.
that do not allow someone else to kind of have the remote control on your emotions. Do not let them sort of twiddle that button and go play or repeat or
Yeah, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, there's some people who know exactly what
the buttons to press.
right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, what do you do in those cases, Because as much as you, like you said, it's hard to control your own
Even if you
emotions
know what's gonna
sometimes.
happen.
Yeah.
How do you-
Yeah. Any
I mean, for
thoughts on
me,
that?
normally I would just, if the person has something to say and you can't walk away at that moment,
Yeah.
just say it, and then you can have a response like, I've heard your opinion. Thank you for sharing. If you're not thank you, then don't say it if you're not genuine. But I've heard what you say. If you don't mind, can I excuse myself now?
Oh, to get
Yeah.
that time out.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
get the time out, because I think the last thing you want to do is to cause any kind of further animosity
True.
or provoke their buttons and then get
Yeah.
into some kind of unhappiness,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
will
yeah. No, that's
then
fair.
compound the matter.
That's
But if you don't
absolutely fair.
acknowledge them at all, then what is going to happen is they're going to poke you
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the lack of acknowledgement
That's
is
true.
just for them to like, come on, you want
It's like
to.
a red.
Because if you're stuck in a pattern, that's what always happens. A pattern repeats because the person responds in the same way they always
Let's
did.
respond.
So, one of the things we can do is to break the pattern of response.
Right.
That's not always easy and requires
Agreed.
a lot of self-awareness and management. But that's one way. Like, if you think, I'm just going to do something a bit different this year than I do last year.
Yes.
And
Gotta
look
start
at it as an
somewhere.
experiment and then see how the other person responds. They won't be happy because you're like, hey, he didn't fall into my trap,
yeah.
A trap bulat. But the thing is, you got one whole year to kind of like
Play it
a
out.
break of 1 year,
Yes.
right? And then re-strategize. So can I think got to start somewhere.
I have a new mantra.
Hey, go.
Easy shares, easy shares, easy shares.
Hey,
In my
that's a
head.
good jingle. We should make that into a jingle. man.
Hasn't worked so far though. I told myself that, but hasn't worked so far. I need to do it more.
Oh, okay. We're gonna head back to Facebook Live. Come and join us. Facebook.com/1FM913. Carrying on this discussion about festive burnout. It is real, people. Come and hear from Sha-En about how we can help ourselves as we get through this festive period.
There's nothing like the right music at the right place.
Everyone, thanks again for joining us here on our Facebook Live. And yes, it's all about festive burnout. So I'm getting a sense that, okay, don't go into it, unprepared, right? And it's important for you to take whatever breaks you can, even if it's a break to the kitchen. Sometimes there's not enough bathrooms or, available bathrooms, but take that break, right? Because you can't really prevent, the gatherings and stuff like that. But actually you can, right?
Yeah,
Can you say no? Should
you
Are you
can.
allowed to turn down an invitation if you're not, keen on attending?
I mean, as I said earlier, like if it's an obligatory one, you can go, but then have a certain time limit that you can leave. And I've seen people actually exercise that. I was at an event recently and somebody came maybe half an hour a bit later,
Yep.
and then the person left an hour before.
Oh,
Yeah, and it was perfect. To me, I felt that was great because that person knows themselves. So I think we really need to know what we can take and what we cannot take. And when I did check in with the person, says everything okay? He said, yeah, I'm just an early bird and I can't stay beyond a certain time.
Sure.
And I don't want to doubt whether that was true or not. But I think as long as we know ourselves, then we can do that.
And I guess it's also a form, Sean, of setting a boundary, right?
Exactly.
There's that line, and
Yeah.
I just want to be kind of clear in a not so aggressive manner.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, the more you do that, the more you're telling yourself that I am in control of this situation. And of course, people are going to say like, oh, come on, just stay lah. Everyone's here. You're the first to leave. Yeah, but if you are clear what you want, then we just need to enforce it. And I think that's where many of us have a bit of hiccup enforcing it. We all know what we
Yeah.
want to say,
Yeah.
but when push comes to shove and we see someone looking at us, or maybe they're offering us yet another slice of whatever it is, or another drink, then we're like, oh, okay lah, can lah, one more
Right,
can
yeah.
lah, you know.
Yeah,
But then inside you're already stirring, already feeling discomfort, you're tired.
Why put yourself through
Yeah,
more?
exactly.
Right.
Because the more we do that, then the more we're sending a message to ourselves that it's okay to dismiss what we want. Right? And then that creates bad feelings as well.
Okay. okay.
So then you go to the next one already having that negativity because you didn't give yourself that break that you actually needed.
So you kind of beat
Right.
yourself up over it, like
Yeah.
why didn't I just leave early? Why
And
didn't
then now I got to go to another one. Oh my god, I
Yeah.
haven't even recovered, And it's just this one thing after another.
Yeah, that's very true, man.
Yeah, so boundaries are really important for festive occasions.
So how can we set these boundaries?
Well, you have to ask yourself how much can you take. You need to know, right? So I'm an extrovert, so for me, unless I'm in really bad company, I seldom feel exhausted. But there
So
are
it's party
times,
every day for you, huh, Sha-En? Nice.
yeah, but for some people, they know like, okay, after like maybe an hour and a half or two,
I'm
or
kinda-
they'll just tell themselves like, if I've run out of things that I want to say, or I'm just not enjoying myself, I'm just gonna take my leave.
I
Yeah.
like that because I think that's very practical advice. We can't always say no
Exactly,
or
because
turn
it's
down
hard,
the invitation,
right?
especially if
Yeah.
it's from your boss. It's like,
Yeah.
I think some people feel obligated
Obliged,
to go, but
yeah.
then we manage it in a different way by
Yeah.
setting the boundary of how long you're going to be, how much can you take.
Yeah, and I thought like, sometimes we might say, oh, I'm not feeling well, but that if that's not true, then you're also kind of deceiving yourself. But I think what the person said the other night was very good. She said, I'm an early bird. And if you are, then it's true, you're an early bird, you need to get to bed by a certain time. So I think whatever it is you say, hopefully it's in alignment with who you are.
Eh,
You know,
with-
and that
Okay.
will be more integrity lah, rather than saying, oh, I'm not well, when actually you just like can't stand it. I mean, sometimes we have to tell white lies, but I'm just saying that sometimes the more we do that, again, we're saying we need to lie to get out of this situation, which doesn't feel good either.
Well, you know, someone has told me before that white lies are okay because you're trying to protect the feelings of the other person. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll remember that one when I tell my next white lie. I was protecting your feelings.
How's the turkey, Lavinia?
Oh no, I think I've been caught. Shucks. Hey, but no, that's a really, really good point. I mean, I need to ask myself some honest questions as well. Do you think it's possible? I feel like, I mean, I love to host, right? But then again, is it about, should I just, if it's becoming too overwhelming, just say like, no, I think
I'm not doing it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, of course, then that's where the conflict in values, I guess, whether you want to continue traditions versus you want to take care of yourself. Yeah, and sometimes we have to ask ourselves which one matters this year.
Doesn't number one, shouldn't number
That's a
one
good point.
be number one?
Yeah,
Should
but
number one be number one? What do you mean? Like,
yeah,
Doesn't
but
take care
people
of yourself.
change. Yeah, exactly.
a long time I have not been number one.
But many people just go through the motion and do things out of obligation, right?
That's not
And
great either,
That
though.
adds to the burnout.
Didn't you say that's kind of a deception as well?
Yeah. So
Right.
that's why it
Yourself.
adds to the burnout.
Right.
Because if you're doing that, you're already like,
Like,
sian, why do I have to
yes.
do this? And then when people come, you're like,
Yeah.
then you put up this show, and then everything is just exhaustion.
It's draining,
And that's
isn't
where
it?
burnout, the
Yeah.
That's
origin of, or one of the key markers of burnout is fatigue. So if you're really already fatigued, and then at the back of your mind thinking, oh, why do I have to do this? And
It's
then
not
maybe
gonna be a
it's
pretty
it's a
picture.
choice that you can make. Maybe you have a smaller party.
Ah.
I mean, there are all these
Yeah,
choices
yeah,
that
yeah.
you can make. Maybe you go out for a change.
Ah.
You know, I mean, and let someone else host it and do the
Sure.
cleanup. But you maybe cost a little bit more, but you go out for a change. I mean, there's always things that you could change.
We're going to carry
Yeah.
on this discussion because I think we need to summarize all of this for everyone as we enter the festivities of Christmas. We're going to head back online. Come and join us, okay? Ooh, I love this one. Blondie with Heart of Glass. And yeah, I guess with, festive burnout, you could break like glass. You could,
Shattered.
right? Hey, but as
We
we were...
need 2 weeks to recover from the festivities.
No
and
time.
then there's
Got
new
New
festivities
Year's. Yeah,
coming.
got New Year's. After that, got Chinese New Year. There is
It's
no
full on.
time.
It's
There's
very
no
full on.
time. So, as you were saying about how it's your approach to it, right? You're saying
Yeah.
that, okay, some things remove that sense of obligation, right?
Yeah.
So, change the way how you do it. Maybe you've always hosted a Christmas party, downscale it.
Yeah.
Bring it to a more manageable level,
Or
right?
cater.
Okay.
Cater, right? Some people pride themselves
Yeah.
on everything I must make homemade. And I mean, I get that. I also want to do that.
Yeah.
But I've got to stop and ask myself, do I have the capacity to do that this year? And it's
understood.
perfectly okay to do it year on year, right? To ask yourself, am I okay? And if I'm okay this year, why not? Go and make that fruit cake that you want to make, you know? Make the turkey if you want to, but maybe outsource the ham, maybe outsource something else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then
that's
you can
true.
have a little bit of everything. You know, I just feel that sometimes we think very black and white, like I must do it this way or nothing else.
Yeah.
Yep.
And where
Yeah.
does those restrictions come from? Where do those limits
Where's that
come
be
from?
passed out from? Right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
I think it's okay to question as long as you're doing it because you need to take care of yourself, right?
That's really
I mean,
true.
if you have to slave for 3 days in the kitchen in order to prepare that feast and then after you collapse,
Yeah.
I mean, how
Doesn't
are
add
you
up,
actually
does
going
it?
to enjoy?
Yeah.
Right.
There's this element of kind of keeping up with the Joneses, right? Like you
Yes.
feel like, oh, I went to their party and now they're coming to mine and theirs
Yeah.
was fabulous. Now
Yeah.
you want to up the game at least, or you put that pressure on yourself anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. But I
That
think you can
sounds
play your own
stressful.
game, right? I mean, like, for example, I have friends, like, birthday parties for kids. I
Yep.
have some friends who are really great at decorating the party.
Yep.
And I know that I'm not that style. So why do I want to compete on that? Or compete, so to
Right,
speak, right?
right.
So I have to ask myself, like, what am I good at? I'm good at creating games for kids to have fun. So I do the game,
Yeah.
right? For
Play to
example.
your strengths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also one way we can look at it because it's your
That's a
party,
good
you
idea.
host. Why does it have to be to other people's standards?
Yeah.
But I think it's because we don't like the discomfort of doing things differently. We don't like the discomfort of re-evaluating what could be different.
Okay.
Right, because we don't want to face those difficult questions.
Yeah.
Like, hey, why this year you outsource your turkey? Every year turkey so tender. Why this year you go and buy? We don't want to have to answer these questions. And so we're like, okay, let's just bite the bullet and do it the same old way.
So you trap yourself.
Yeah, in a way.
That would be almost like the path of least resistance, because
Right,
I know
right,
that I'll just
exactly.
do that.
Yeah.
Whether I like to do it or not, it's a separate. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we just don't invite the Joneses.
They can stay at home.
We
They'll
go to
still
their
knock on the
party,
door anyway,
we
you know.
what?
They might just do that.
Oh, that's scary, man. We give them a good thank you gift and then we move on. We cancel our party.
So no Joneses this year.
Is it? Is
Okay.
that? Can it be a strategy, Sha-En? Sha-En is laughing. She's like, no, just outsource the turkey. But that's a really good point. You know, it's something that I guess each of us have to wrestle on our own, but ask that question of yourself, right?
Yeah.
What am I comfortable to do this year?
That's right.
Do you think you could summarize for us, just some key things to note if we notice that we might be getting to a festive burnout and how we can prevent it, just to summarize it for everyone as we end off this discussion?
Yeah, I mean, say no when you have to say no.
Okay.
But if you can't say no because it's an office function, for example, go but have a time limit, or take frequent breaks while you're there, so
Okay.
that you can manage your emotions, manage your energy.
Yep.
Right, and then if you meet with difficult or insensitive questions, know that they are going to be there. So come prepared with maybe one or two things that you can say. And some people think it's okay, I'll just wing it. What I find is to be helpful is that I prepare it and I say it a few times, so that I can just poof, it goes out like that.
Yeah.
And so because the moment you ooh ah, then you're like, aha, I got you, you know.
Wow,
Yeah,
I mean, there's
so-
real entrapment going on
Yeah.
here.
I mean, in a way, if you really want to have a smooth time, and these are some of the good tips. And then, of course, it's okay to do things differently. So, take a pause. If you are a host, maybe you want to host it in a different way. If you're going to a friend's house and you're concerned that it's not going to show up the way, well, believe in yourself. I mean, we are all different.
Yeah, it's
Right,
a very, very
and,
Back
nice
yourself.
point.
Yeah.
You
That's a
may
very,
be
very
the
nice
first
point.
person to bring an environmentally green present. It doesn't look as good as some beautifully coiffed material thing that people buy, but that's you, who you are. And I think it's okay to be confident in who you are.
Yeah, I like how you're ending off with that point.
Yeah,
right?
I think I like that message of positivity for sure. That's the way to do it.
That's why I'm here.
There you
Hey.
go.
Sha-En, thank you so much for joining us here on this Monday. I think you are helping us to start off this brand new week on a really great foot, especially because we're in the midst of all our festivities.
Are you going to host
Yes.
anything for Christmas this year?
Am I? I don't think so. But I'm going somewhere and I'm outsourcing my turkey.
Hey,
there you go.
You see, she walking the talk,
Okay.
right?
But I
there.
read good reviews and make sure the turkey got good reviews.
You see,
lah.
Okay.
So
see,
these are
really
things that are in our
managing
control.
I like that. You're taking things. I think control is very important, and it doesn't have to be something that will cripple you, So,
I don't have to follow the patterns of the past.
I like that
That
as
you may
well.
have been, repeating year after year.
Because they may
Yeah,
not.
really,
we
really
can
good
create
point.
new patterns.
There we go.
Really, really good point. Well, thank you once again. We look forward to having you back in the studio. So for the rest
Yes.
of the December holidays, it's just enjoying some parties,
Yes,
maybe
enjoying
hosting
time
one
with
or
the
two.
family.
Don't burn out, okay?
Don't burn out. Be that bright light, that ray of sunshine for us.
Lots
Alrighty.
of downtime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to hang out with you. Eh? And she's like, no. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Back to the great music. We
Alright.
also have weather and traffic coming up. Stay close.
1FM 91.3.
1FM 91.3 weather. Good time.
The next
Great